We are in our 5th shiur. Today is Chet B'Av, the 8th of Av. It's also the Yortzeit of Rabbi Shimon Agassi. And it's Davar B'Ito Matov, Masechet Kala says. We're learning the Pirush of Rabbi Shimon Agassi, which is the Bnei Aaron, on his Yortzeit today. I'm sure that he's gonna, he might even be here. I don't know, man. When you learn the Tzaddik's Torah, Siftotav Dovot Bakever, and his Nitzot is Mitlabesh. It's very important, and the Hidulah of a Tzaddik, it's very important to go home and light a candle. And many people light candle in the night. Rav Chaim Sinvani used to say that it's also, he said it's even more potent if you light a candle for the Tzaddik in the morning. Not only in the night, but also in the morning. So when you go home today, light 2 candles, one in Lezecher Nishmat Rabbi Shimon ben Rabbi Aharon Agassi, and the second one is Rabbi Yitzchak Zilber, which did many great things for Bukharian and Russian Jews. He was literally, it was Pashut. Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach was one of the Lamed Tzaddikim. He wasn't a Chabad Chassid, but they once asked one of the Chabad Chassidim in that time, what is a real Chabad Chassid supposed to look like? He looked at Rav Zilber and said, this is what he's supposed to look like. And he wasn't a Chabad Chassid, he was Litvak, but he really wasn't. He was Mamash Tzaddik Yesod Olam. He was very close to the Bukharians. You know Shmuel Elishaya in Israel, the rich, he was his tutor in Tashkent. As a kid, he was his tutor. And he went through a very tough time. He was in the Russian working camp, which was basically a death sentence for 2 years, I think.
Stalin camp.
The Stalin camp. He was there for 2 years. 2 years he was there. And he said the Torah I learned while I was in the camp, I never forgot in my life. Because this is the one rule we have to learn when we learn Torah. Boy said, any Torah that we toil when we learn, stays with you. When you don't toil, when it comes easy, that's vidani. I like to say in our generation, all Torah is toiling. Why? The Yetzer Hara is so big in our generation, just to come to the shiur itself, every step is, it's a fight. It's a fight. But at the same time, you have to understand that lefum tzara aga. As much as you toil, so much the reward. Not that we're learning for reward. With this, we're gonna start our shiur. So we are in the Bnei Aaron. We are page Yud Zayin. And did you have the page in your book, Shari Yitzhak? It starts with Va'ata tzarich shenevaer. Last week, just to make a small review, we said that a neshama, let's say this is a partzuf, let's call this olam ha'asiyah. Okay, and I want you guys to help me out here because I want to know if I'm touching the right chord. Olam ha'asiyah, what part of our soul comes from that world? Huh? The nefesh. Correct. The nefesh comes from olam ha'asiyah. Now, without getting into partzufim right now, which is 5 systems in every world, without getting into the system, let's say Olam Asiyah is how many Sefirot?
5.
Sefirot. 10. Right? Keter, Chokhmah, Bina, Chesed, Gevura, Tiferet, Netzach, Hod, Yesod, and Malachut. Basically the human body. The head, the body, and the Yesod. Okay? So we learned yesterday, how does a person have good children? Now, obviously, if you learn the whole Shar Gilgulim, you will know that the Ari spends a lot of time talking about this. In one of the Hagdamot, there's one Hagdamah, just how to have good kids. How to reach deep down and bring a Neshama, is what you were asking me the other time.
Which Hagdamah?
I forget exactly, I think it's Hagdamah Zayin or Chet. But how to go deep down and get the Neshama. Basically, you could have insurance, that you can have good kids for the rest of your life. Insurance. Well, we're only Hagdamah Aleph. We don't jump in this class. Okay, we go slowly. Okay? So, but the point is that we learned last week, the Bnei Aaron, remember last week we did the Bnei Aaron on, alright? That there is a way to bring a child, from higher realms. What does it mean, higher realms? From a higher Sefirah. Because a child that comes from, let's say, Tiferet, right? will obviously be on a much higher level than a child that comes from the Yesod. Am I right? Now, everybody says, Yosef HaTzadik, Yosef HaTzadik, Yosef HaTzadik, we love Yosef HaTzadik, Yosef is Parnasah, Shalom, it's true. The Zohar says that Yosod, Yosef, is the most beloved Sefirah, but it is not the highest Sefirah. A child that comes from the Sefirah of Tiferet will obviously have a much stronger and he'll have a much easier time in this world than a person who comes from Yesod.
4 times.
And a person who comes from Gvura will be on a higher level than a person from Tiferet. Okay? Yesod is all the way on the bottom. So with your ability that Rav Shimon Agassi taught us, in retrospect, from the other Hakdamot, which we didn't get to yet, that you have the ability to reach into the higher realms and pick a soul from a higher place, higher Sefirah. And the second thing we learned last week, let's say you were born into this world from a Nishama, from the world, the lowest Sefirah, which is what? Malchut. You have the ability to work your way up. Okay? Now obviously you can't jump steps, so if you have the zechut, you could change your shorish neshama. You could change yourself. You could be a new person. And you could go from malchut to yesod, or from yesod to hod, from hod to netzach, netzach to tiferet, tiferet to gevurah, gevurah chesed, and so on and so forth. How do we know this? The Ari tells us this, but the most famous example is Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu was able to change his shorish neshama until he got to a world called Radla. Reisha Delayit Yada. It's Reisha, that means it's the place that is unknown. He got to that world. He changed his shorish neshama. He was able to do that because his humbleness was unbelievable. To the point where even though he wrote in the Torah, and Moses is the most humble person on this planet, he himself didn't feel humble when he was writing it. Unbelievable. Okay? We were writing that. God told us, write that you're the most humble guy. I'm sure we feel a little bit of gaiva. Alright? He didn't feel anything. He felt degraded at that point. So Moshe Rabbeinu was able to say, and there's a famous story with Mordechai Sharabi, Zecher Tzadik Livracha, who was the Rosh Yeshiva of Nahar Shalom, before Rav Benayahu Shmueli, which is right now the Rosh Yeshiva, and before his father of Shalom Shmueli. And he said to a person once who came to him, says, the reason why you have such a hard life is because you come from the Malchut. And we're going to learn this today. Anybody who comes from the Malchut automatically has to have a tough life. Example, David HaMelech. You're from the Malchut, you have to have a tough life. Why? You're the closest to the Klipot. Basically, when you go to the war, who's the first one to get killed? The one on the front line. And the guys who come from the Malchut, their job is to be the ones on the front line. You understand? Now, it doesn't come without benefits. David HaMelech was the only human being in the history of the world, we're going to learn it in Hagdama Zayin, to finish all of his Narnachi. In one Gilgul. Nobody ever did it. Even Moshe didn't do that.
On one part too?
He fasted.
All the parts of him.
He fasted most of his life.
Doesn't matter. Kaleb ben Yifuneh was also called Pashchur. You know why? Because his teeth were black from so much fasting. Kaleb ben Yifuneh. They also fasted. Don't think in our generation people don't fast too. I heard there are communities of people who fast. Communities in Shavavim. Communities. There was one person, he passed away, they wrote on his tombstone, he fasted all of his life for 40 days straight in Shavavim. Those Yimach Shemam, Bnei Ishmael, Chalav Ishmael, they think they do Ramadan, whatever they do over there, they're holy. Don't look at them as holy, they're all liars.
It's fake.
Don't fake, they eat. Trust me, they eat. They eat, they smoke, they drink, they do everything. They do all the shtuyot also they do. Am Yisrael is kadosh. When we do something, we do it right. Okay? So these are two things we learned last week. Okay? Now with this introduction, we could go to Shara Gilgulim. Let's continue. I'm going to pick up the pace of it, okay? ואתה צריך שנבער חלוק אחד שיש בין הנפש של העשייה, שאר החלקים שמין היצירה, הבריאה והאצילות. So here's over here, number one. He says, I want to explain to you, okay, you have 5 parts to your soul, right? You have nefesh. I'm only going to write the first letters. You have nefesh, you have ruach, you have nishama, you have chaya, and you have yechida. All together, what do we call them? Nar nachid. What's the difference? What's the difference between nefesh and between ruach, neshama, chaya, yechida? What's the difference? So you have nefesh, I have ruach. What's the big deal?
Different level.
Different level. How does that change me? What can I do with that? Okay? What does it mean? What's the nafka mean? What's the practical difference? And says the Ari HaKadosh, Rav Chaim Vital, ובזה יתבאר, and also we will also delve into the query, גם כן תימה גדולה, a certain wonderment. איך אפשר, how is it possible, שמי ששורשו במלכות העשייה יכול לעלות עד הכתר העשייה? Let's say I was born, I came from the malchut. From malchut. What's the highest sefirah? Keter. I said I could change levels, right? Because how is it possible that I could jump from malchut all the way and change myself to what? Keter. It's impossible. Why? If everybody could do that, then everybody is the same. Am I right or wrong? Could everybody be the same?
No.
One guy is a Navy SEAL. One guy is just a water boy. One guy is he drives the garbage. One guy does jewelry. One guy is a rabbi. Nobody's the same. We can't all be rabbis. We can't all be into jewelry. What's your heart? We can't all be barbers. Everyone's different. So how can it be that I'm telling you could change your shorish neshama? So that means you can all reach until Keter. Once we reach Keter, the highest level, you know what it means to reach Keter? You know what kind of neshama comes from Keter? Once a generation. The Ari says once a generation, there is one person who passes away, a fiery column sprouts from his grave. Only one person in a generation. That person has to come from Keter. So there's no difference between us anymore. We're all the same. Can't be. שאם כן נמצא שכיוון שכל בני ישראל מוכרחים להתגלגל עד שישלמו בכל נער נכי, נמצא שמוכרח הוא שכולם מתעלו בקטע העשייה או בקטע היצירה ובקטע הבריאה. If I'm telling you that we all have to finish נפש, רוח, נשמה, חי, יחידה, you have to finish all your potential in your life. How do you fulfill your potential? By doing mitzvot. How do you do mitzvot? With enthusiasm, with simcha, with dibur, by learning Torah. That means at one point we're all going to change to Keter. So what does that mean? We're all the same. But we're not the same. One guy is from Malchut, one guy is from Yesod, one guy is from Netzach. Moshe is not Aharon, Aharon is not Moshe. They have 2 different jobs. One is a Kohen Gadol, one is the Melech. Does it make sense? Says Rav Chaim Vital. וכל שאר הבחינות יהיו בטלים. And if we all get to the Keter, what does that mean? That all the previous Bechinot from Chokhmah until Malchut are what? They're nullified. And we know that can't be true. Look at the world around you. ואמנם זה לא יעלה על הדעת. It cannot be so. כי פשוט הוא אצלנו, it's obvious to us, כי יש מבני ישראל אנשים מבחינת מלכות. We know there are people from Malchut. דוד המלך. ויש מן היסוד, יוסף הצדיק. כנזכר בתחילת ספר התיקונים, like it's written in the תיקוני זוהר. If we're really talking about תיקוני זוהר, I'm going to tell you guys one thing. Anybody who finishes תיקוני זוהר, after he finishes, he gets a spiritual gift from Shammai. It's a special thing. Page a day keeps the doctors away. Tikkunei Zohar is very powerful. More powerful than the Zohar. You know why? The Zohar was written by Rabbi Abba. The Tikkunei Zohar was written by Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. The Idbehu Rashi Alfei Yisrael, the Torah, the Zohar says, the Tikkunim says, there are in Am Yisrael heads of thousands, Mitzad HaKeter. They come from Keter. If you see a person who has a congregation, who is able to lead 1,000 people. What does that mean? He comes from which sfira?
Keter.
Keter. The Chachamim, if you see a person who comes from, who's a very big Chacham, a person calls him, comes, oh, you Chacham. Everybody comes asking him halachot. Not just a couple of people, a lot of people. Where does he come from? Chokhmah. Nevonim, what's Nevonim? People who are able to give advice. Mina bina. This is what I don't understand. Sometimes people go to rabbis. They think the rabbi has to be from Keter until Malchut. It doesn't work like that. There's a rabbi from Keter, there's a rabbi from Malchut, there's a rabbi from Yesod. Rabbi can't be everything, right? There's a rabbi who's only good with halachot. There's a rabbi who's only good with advice. There's many different types.
They should tell to the people, I'm from this and this.
But they don't know themselves what are they supposed to do. Continuing. So you guys understood the question? Amna? Be'ura inyan ze, to understand this, to get the answer. Hu talui b'ma shenivaya. We have to understand what we're going to learn right now is going to answer a lot of questions in your life. Especially the main question, how come some people, they do all the averot, but life is kudela for them? You know what kudela means? Yeah. How could that be? Some guy is a tzaddik yesod olam, he can't pay the rent. Yisurim. Some guy has Yisurim, but he's happy. How? Yesh chiluk ben ha'asiyah. There's a difference between the world of asiyah. Asiyah is which part of the soul? Ash?
The lowest.
Which is?
Asiyah is nefesh.
Nefesh. לשאר שלושי עולמות, שלושתם ביחד. There is one main difference between this world, this part of the soul, and the other ones. One big practical difference between the nefesh and the ruach neshama haychida. So because sometimes you have to understand one rule in Sha'ar Gilgulim. A lot of times he'll omit the yichida, the keter. That's the one you got, the yichida. Why? Because yichida is keter. Nobody has ever reached that. Only Mashiach is gonna be born from that level. You know what that means? He's gonna be an extremely humble person, even more than Moshe Rabbeinu. It's gonna be tough to convince him that he's Mashiach. That's why we need Eliyahu Navi.
Bottom line, it comes down to humbleness.
Humble, yeah. That's the one thing Hashem looks for, which is the toughest thing. Why? Because we're born in a society that if we're not gonna be go-getters, if we're not gonna be hustlers, we're not gonna be anything in our lives.
Yeah, especially Ba'aretz. We just.
Listen, it's not only in Aretz, it's also in Eretz Edom. It's in Bekol Makom. So there's a main difference between Asiyah and Shashit. Who opens it? Da. When the Ari says da, it's important, it's a cloud. Ki b'inyan Asiyah levada hu be'ofen zeh. Ki mi she'shorsho b'malchut ha'asiyah. If you come from the malchut of Asiyah. Malchut of Asiyah. That means you're the lowest of the lowest world. Pashuthu, you know what Pashuthu means? What's Pashut? It's simple, it's obvious. Ki nafsho hi b'malchut ha'asiyah bedafka. You're always gonna be malchut. You're always gonna be malchut. If you come from malchut, you're always gonna be malchut, he says. Amnam im kol zeh al tikun ma'asav. If you're gonna do tikunim, what kind of tikkunim? Dipping in the mikveh? No. Tikkun ma'asav. You're angry? You learn to control your anger. You have ego? Learn to control the ego. You're too sensitive? You have to learn to be a rock. Tikkun ma'asav dafka. Mizdachechet nafsho. Your soul purifies itself. Madrega achar madrega, level after level. It happens very slowly, guys. Something good happens slowly, not fast. Until you could turn from malchut asiyah to what? Keter asiyah. V'tuchlal v'titale ad sham mamash. And you will change. You will be a new person. You will turn from a malchut to what? A keter. And that's possible. Why? The Zohar says that Malchut's name is what? Ani. When you see in the Torah Hashem says Ani, He's revealing Himself in the Sphira called Malchut. He's wearing the clothing of Malchut. Keter has a very similar name. It's called Ayin. You see the connection? Aleph, Aleph. Nun, Nun. Yud, Yud. You just switch the letter. Ayin means what? Nothing. I'm nothing. Ani means what? I'm everything. So if you want to reach Keter of Asiyah, you have to turn yourself from Ani, which is I'm everything in this world.
To nothing.
And I'm going to tell you a secret. Most people in our generation come from where? Malchut. Our generation. Why? We're the Akevayim of Adam HaRishon.
The front
We're the
runners.
heels. And what is the one thing every person owns in this world? iPhone, iPad, this, that. Because I. We're all from Malchut. The less eyes you have in your house, the higher you could get. Now, obviously, you could use the Malchut for good stuff too. I mean, Mashiach is Malchut, right?
So it's impossible for a person who comes from Malchut to live okay life, or they have to all kind of be in a turbulence.
You have to change. You have to mizdachech ma'asav. You have to go up. You have to become a keter at the end. You understand? That's what you gotta do. If you're from the Malchut, you gotta turn into a keter because you could. It's all a question of changing the letter Nun with the letter Yud. Less I, and more you.
The question still stands.
What's the question?
How can everyone still be the same?
We didn't finish the answer.
Right.
It's not coming easy.
You could turn to Keter Asiyah, but תוכל לדלת שממש, and you become one with Keter. אבל עם כל זה, עד שעלה על הכתר דעשייה, until you reach Keter of Asiyah, עדיין שם איננו רק בבחינת מלכות לכתר דעשייה. So let's say I was born with a malchut. I have to get to ruach, I have to reach keter. It's very tough. That's why almost nobody reaches ruach in one gilul. Because in the asiyah, you have to finish everything. You gotta reach keter. So once I'm a malchut, right? I have to reach keter, but once I reach the keter, I'm not gonna really be keter. I'm gonna be the malchut of the keter.
The higher level.
I'm gonna be the lowest aspect of the highest aspect. If I'm from Yesod, when I get to Keter, I'm gonna be Yesod of Keter. If I'm from Netzach, I'm gonna be Netzach of Keter. Why? Because Keter itself, the Sphira of Keter, itself has 10 Sphirot. You gotta get used to that in Kabbalah because everything is in everything. Okay, you gotta get used to it because that's it.
So you got up to the Keter, and then within the Keter
There's 10 Sefirot.
So do you have to go up the letter again?
No. So let's say, let's draw it.
You
Keter
get
is
to
Keter.
the highest
Chokmah, Binah,
level of Keter.
Chesed, Gevurah, Tiferet, Netzach, Hod, Yesod, and Malchut. So I started off as a Malchut. When I reach the Keter, I'm gonna stop over here
Because you're from
because I'm from Malchut.
But you reach the domain of Keter.
Right.
The highest level.
I got to the capital city.
So, but this is still Asiyah.
Yeah, only in Asiyah.
How do you get to?
How do you get to the root?
Yeah, because
So
you
once
have to go-
once you're gonna reach Malchut of Keter and you're gonna fix it, check. Only then you're gonna reach Ruach. And if you're from Malchut, you're always gonna be Malchut the Yitzira. Yeah. Okay. Now, so Asiyah is the hardest job. The nefesh, what you're born with, usually, what you're born with is the hardest to fix. That animalistic urge inside of you is the hardest to fix. Some people are born with more animalistic urges, more desires. Some people prefer, chas v'shalom, nashim. Some people prefer drugs, chas v'shalom. Some people prefer food. So they'll prefer working out, looking good, looking in the mirror. Everybody has a certain desire. Once he's able to litaken ma'asav, he could go up the ladder. How do you know you went up the ladder? Hashem is going to send you gifts. What is those gifts? Suddenly, something changes in your life. I'm able to hold on to this mitzvah very closely. That means I went up the ladder. There's something inside of me that changed. I wasn't able to wear tzitzit all the time. Suddenly, I'm able to wear tzitzit all the time. Something inside of you changed. You understand? There's a change going on, okay? It means you're going up the ladder because there has to be a change in you too. It's not only spiritual, it's also physical. Judaism is the connection between the two guys. Don't forget that, okay? We're not, those Chas Shalom in the Far East that they just sit all day with their legs in a lotus position and they're flying up in the air. That's not us. We gotta connect the two worlds together. We gotta combine the animalistic world. I was just one small thing. I was reading the book Ner Mitzvah of the Mittler Rebbe. When Tet Kislev is gonna come, we're gonna make a big thing. Bli Neder. He says over there, the human body is on a higher level than the human soul, because as a rule, the higher something is up top, the lower it falls. Which is a very it's a very deep concept. We're gonna have to delve into it some other time. It's not a Hasidic class, so.
But the body is material.
Exactly, but it started off as something spiritual. So it started off as something very high. If it materialized
higher
into
than the soul?
the higher it is, the lower it falls. You ever heard of that?
Bala Sulam.
The Bala
This is the Ratzon. This is the Ratzon.
This is the human being's will.
Ratzon.
That's exactly. That's why the Jewish person is the most stubborn person out there.
Back to our topic.
Back to our topic. Yeah, we're not learning Hasidus here. Im goes, so you get to the Malchut of Kedar, ki ein shorshot ben Malchut, אבל מוכרח הוא, but you're obligated. שצריך שיזדחך עד שיעלה עד הכתר דעשייה. If you're an Asiyah, you have to reach Keter of Asiyah, but you will only reach the part in Keter that you were born with. If you're Malchut, you're gonna reach Malchut the Keter. If you're Yesod, you're gonna reach Yesod the Keter, okay? Makes sense on the board, okay? אף על פי שעדיין אז איננו נקרא רק מבחינת מלכות הכתר עשייה. ועל דרך זה בשאר מדרגות העשייה, כי איננו נקרא רק מבחינת מלכות של המדרגה ההיא. אמנם, so that's עשייה. Okay, we're done with עשייה. You guys get עשייה? Now let's go to it. This was all in עשייה. They're nefesh. Okay, you guys have to learn how to delve back with all the terms I'm saying, okay? Nefesh is Asiyah. Remember that. We're done with Asiyah, okay? That's Asiyah. Now let's talk about Yetzirah. That's our Ruach. Ruach. Olam ha-Yetzirah. Yotzer or Borei Choshech. Amnam be-Yetzirah u'Briya v'Atzilut. Ein hadavar ken. It doesn't work like that. Amnam mishu shesho rucho b'malchut shel Yetzirah. Let's say you come from Malchut of Yetzirah. V'tiken v'eshlim ha-madregah. And you finish Malchut of Yetzirah. Yetzirah has, let's say, 10 sefirot. Keter, Chokhmah, Binah, Chesed, Gevurah, Tiferet, Netzach, Hod, Yesod, and Malchut. I come from here. Malchut of Yetzirah. I finished it. I did it.
You go right away to it.
כאשר יזדחק ויתקן גם היסוד היצירה, אז יקבל גם כן רוח אחד מן היסוד היצירה ממש. What does that mean? Let's say I was able to do so much תיקונים, תיקון מעשים, our midot. I reached and I got to Yesod of Yetzirah. The Malchut doesn't get nullified. It doesn't cancel out. It stays there. In Asiyah, it canceled out into the Keter.
Okay.
Yeah, it was Batel inside the Keter. But in your part of the Keter, okay? But you reach Keter. In Yetzirah, it doesn't work like that. Once you finish Malchut, it stays with you forever. You did also Yesod, you get an extra ruach. That means you can add sparks to your soul.
So it's like buying another property, but not like expanding your business.
Exactly. Couldn't have said it better. Where do you come up with these things? והרוח הראשון אשר לו במלכות, ביצירה, נשאר למטה במלכות יצא שם מקומו, right? So the malchut of Yetzirah, where does it stay? In the And the Yesod, you just gain an extra ruach, extra spark, extra shorish. Okay? The ken kisheshlim gam hod, so too if you finished also the hod, here is hod, the yitzira, yaniach et haruach hasheni, shelo min hayesod v'yesod yitzira, you'll leave your yesod over here, v'yikabel ruach echad min hahod the yitzira, v'kan de'avzeh ala keter the yitzira, until you're able to reach, if you have tikkun ma'asim, until the keter of yitzira. Lefi shekevan shetiken et nafsho b'chol mador ha'asiyah. Once you're able to get to Keter the Asiyah, go back to the Asiyah. You were able to get to Keter Asiyah, you have such kochot nefesh now. You did the impossible. Yesh bo yecholet lekabel ruach mikol hachelkei yitzira kula. You're able to get ruach from all the different roots in Yitzira. That's when the angels start to get jealous of you. Because they come from Yitzira. Understand? Since you already did a job that's almost impossible in Asiyah, once you got to Yitzira, in Asiyah, what happened? I had to, all of my parts of my soul were nullified. It was mitbatel and keter. But over here, so I only ended up with how many parts? One, in the keter. But in Yitzira, I'm able to get how many? All 10. Because of what you didn't right, so that's the whole. That's the musar in the.
That's the hardest part.
That's the chassidus and the Rabbi said. This is it. You have to work hard to get something good. It doesn't work. It never. You can't reap a benefit if you didn't. Which is something also very interesting that I realized in our generation. Our generation, we don't mind getting stuff for free. Whereas many other generations before us, if they would get something for free, they would be embarrassed. Was just proves that we're so connected to the Malchut. It's unbelievable how we're such a Malchut generation. It's screaming at you. B'ken ha'inyan b'b'chanat neshama asher lo min same thing inside Beria. How long was what time is it? How long have we been
32.
going? I don't want to make it too
32.
30. Okay, so another paragraph. I just want to explain to you guys the reason. How come in Asiyah is different than the other parts of your soul? How come? Because Asiyah is a much higher job. It's a much tougher job. Yeah, it's very tough. You got to reach to the Keter. Mamash. Okay? And in Yitzirah, he gets so many, I reap so many benefits. They all get, midbatel, till I reach the Keter. So you gotta understand the reason. Asiyah is the lowest of all the worlds. I have to give you guys a small hakdama. The worlds are like a building. They're like a building. I have a building with 4 floors. Floor number 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. Now, in this
Level.
illustration, first floor is not really first floor. It's really the basement. Okay, it's the basement. If you're in the basement, where are you? With all the bugs. You're with all the roaches. With all the mice. Nobody wants to live in the basement. It's not a good place to live. That's Asiyah. It's more than 50% klipa over there. Maybe even close to 90%. Huh? Rubo. More, that's more fit, but could even be more. Now when you get to Yitzirah, that's first floor or second floor, it's 50-50. It's Hada'at. Tov, Vera. When you get to Olam HaBriya, which is the third or second floor if you're counting this as basement, it's mostly good. Tov. Very little bit of Ra. When you get to Atzilut, everything is what? Tov. V'tereh oto ki tovhu. Bat Yesed alat Moshe. She saw him and it was good. What do you mean it was good? He came from which world?
Penthouse.
So, The reason why Asiyah is such a hard job, says the Ari, says the Marchu, is because it's down in the basement. It's in the Klippa. So if I finished my Malchut, I can't leave the Malchut alone. I can't leave it over there. Why? If I leave it right away, what comes to get it? All the Klippa. They come and attack it. You understand? So I gotta take it with me.
So it always goes with you.
It always, yeah, and it gets nullified in the top level. In your soul, and oh, the netzach. I can't leave it alone. If I leave it alone, comes the rats, the raccoons, the klipa, and they come and they, chas v'shalom, I don't want to say. Im yenichenu, afa pi shekvar adam tiken, nafsho ki b'chen makom sheshor sheba'asiyah. I finished my part in Asiyah. Why can't I leave it in its spot? Im kol zeh, im yenichenu sham. If I leave it over there, yesh pacha, there is fear. Ulai tachzu ba'akali asher sham. Maybe the kali is going to come and take it. לכן צריך שיזדחק מעשיו יותר ויותר. I have to work even harder. עד שיעלנה למעלה למעלה until I get it all the way up on top. כל מה שיוכל, all that I can. עד מקום שורשו בכתר דעשייה. Until I reach which ספירה? כתר. It's a very tough job.
But it's still an Asiyah.
That means, yeah, of course it's an Asiyah, but once you reach Keter, it's the good in Asiyah.
It's the better part.
No, it is the good part of Asiyah.
It's at 10% or 5%. That's only good.
So once I reach Keter, and how do I do that? You have to be a Keter. What is that? What's a Keter? There is a rule in the Rashash. Rabbeinu Shalom Sharabi. He says, Hapashut hu b'keter. What's Hapashut hu b'keter? I have God's name. Let's say I have Yud K Vav K, right? Yud K Vav K. Regular name of Hashem. Let's say I want to spell it out. I do Yud Vav Dalet K Yud Vav K Yud. I spelled out his name instead of saying just Yud. I spell Yud Vav Dalet, right? And now I could spell this too. The Yud becomes what? Yud Vav Dalet. The Vav becomes what? Vav Ale Vav V'chule V'chule V'chule. If I see this kind of name in Kavanot, you guys are light years away from this. If I see this kind of name in Kavanot, I know I'm in the world of Bina. If I see this name in Kavanot, I know I'm in the world of Chokhmah. If I see this name in Kavanot, where am I? In Keter. Why? It's the simplest. I would say this should be Keter. It's more explained. No. Hapashut.
It's Ima, no?
Hapashut hu beketer. The more simpler you are, the more Keter you are.
The more humble.
The more humble. The more I'm a simple guy. I'm not looking for anything in my life.
But isn't it our as humans to strive and excel? And
It's not. Listen, it's not easy to be Keter. I'm not saying we all gotta right now live like we're in the monks in the forest. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm always saying. What do I mean to be simple? You go home right now, and suddenly a kriza gets into your wife's head. You know what a kriza is?
Oh yeah.
They get them a lot. And she's like, "Where were you? You left me with the kids. Alaba, alaba." And suddenly your gava comes out. You go, "I'm the man inside the house. Don't talk to me like that, woman. Go back to your mama's house."
But how?
You're not Baketer. You're not even in Bina.
You're in the basement.
You're in the basement. Hapashut hu Baketer. Sometimes it's better not to say anything. Hapashut hu Baketer. Izviniti, okay. It's gonna gamze ya'avor, as they say. Rav Tzion Bracha, who the shul is named after him, L'Shem. You know what kind of Mikubal he was? He was the Chazan of Mordechai Sharabi. He used to do shopping himself until he was 90 years old. He wouldn't let his children or his wife do that. I could walk, he used to say. I get it myself. One time, one guy comes up to him. He's a dentist. He says to him, "Rabbi, let me take your backs for you." This was maybe 70 years old. He yanked the rabbi yanked the bags back from him so hard. He's a young man. The guy said, "I almost flew." Where did he get his strength from? Pashut hu beketer. You're pashut, you're beketer. Pashut doesn't mean that you have to live like a monk. Be a simple person. That's only in Tikkun Hamidot, Rabbi said. Tomar Devorah, it's Ramak, obviously. Shari Kedusha. Yes, the first part, yeah. The first 13 parts.
No, after that.
After, no, the Tomar Devorah, first is the 13 chapters, all delving into Keter. And then it goes into Chokhmah, Binah, Hazir. Okay, let's finish the paragraph. Now, יצירה מכל שכן, שאר העולמות שלמעלה ממנו. אין שום פחד מאחזת הקהל. Once you get to יצירה, you're in Ruach, your יצר הרע, how you say, it's on the back burner. אשר בעולם העשייה, you're not afraid anymore. לכן כיוון שתיקן את רוחו בשורש בסדר, if you fix your שורש in יצירה, אם תיקן יותר, if you were able to change it more, אז יישאר רוחו הראשון שם כורשו ויקנה רוח שני יותר יש מלמעלה. Now you can get a second one, there's no פחד, you don't have to nullify your first one. ואין צריך לעלות רוחו הראשון למעלה, כי אין שם פחד. There is no fear in the world of יצירה, בריאה and אצילות. With this we end our shiur. Continue with Hashem next week. Baruch Adonai le'olam. Amen. Amen.